Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. It's going down 6:30 Eastern time. Josh, how pumped up are you for Super Bowl Sunday?
I mean, if I had to be completely honest, I'm not as hyped up as I should be about a Super Bowl. I feel like it is a little bland of a Super Bowl, but you know what? It still is the Super Bowl. So I am very hyped up. I mean, there's just so much going on with you get the commercials, you get all the bets you can put in, like even just Chiefs first Bucks, you know what I mean? It's going to be a fun day.
I mean, I would assume that you were hyped up because you're wearing the Tyreek Hill jersey. So is that where your rooting interest lies, or are you just showing support for
No, so just a quick story. Me and my buddies do a jersey swap. So I ended up getting the Tyreek Hill jersey. But also the one time I wore this jersey is when they lost to the Raiders. So I'm doing it as a counteractive thing. If I wear it, the Bucks will win tonight. That's my goal. So I'm going Bucks tonight, but I'm just hoping this has bad juju for him.
See, I'm neutral. I'm wearing just the plain, Under Armour zip-up hoodie. I was going to rock the Bills jersey for this one, but obviously there's no reason to rock a Bills jersey today, unfortunately. But I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, the narrative of this game is Pat Mahomes versus Tom Brady. The greatest of today versus the greatest of all time, I think.
Yeah.
How do you see this game playing out? I see this game going as a shootout between both of these guys just lighting up the scoreboard. Do you see it going any other way than that?
No, I mean, I think that's exactly it. I think it's going to be the Chiefs get out to some kind of early lead, and the Bucks just keep battling to stay in it, right? Like Chiefs are up 10, now they're up 3, then they're up 10 again. You know what I mean? Just back and forth shootout. I really don't see how it would go another way because the Bucks D has been playing well, but I mean, when you're playing Mahomes, it doesn't matter. And the Chiefs D isn't fantastic. So, yeah, I'd have to imagine it's going to be a nice shootout.
And in terms of offensively, I think Kansas City's triplet, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. For you, where does this trio rank? I mean, we've seen a lot of great offenses. We're aging ourselves here. I realized last night when they announced the Pro Football Hall of Fame class, Peyton Manning goes in. We're seeing guys that we grew up watching from basically start to finish be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That means that we're getting older, Josh. As much as I hate to say it, it means we're getting older.
Shut up.
It's true, though, right?
No, it is. It's weird.
Where does this trio rank, though, in terms of, obviously Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, greatest show on turf, Warner, Holt, Isaac Bruce. Where does Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill rank going into this one as defending Super Bowl champions in the Super Bowl back-to-back? It has to rank pretty high, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to imagine on the trajectory what they've already done and the trajectory they're on, I'd have to say at least top 10. I mean, they made it to the AFC Champ game. They went right to the Super Bowl the next year, won. I think they could easily win again. They literally don't even lose in the regular season, and I don't see them stopping next year either, right? There's no stopping them. There's no one leaving. I also don't get, how do they even keep these guys on contracts? There's so many good players over there. I don't understand, but I would say, honestly, top 10 of all time, I think they will be because Mahomes not going anywhere. Tyreek Hill is a phenomenon with his speed, and Kelsey's had, 5 years of 1,000 yards? It's insane.
Right, and not only something that just blew my mind, I think it blew everyone's minds when they heard that Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski are the same age. I was blown away by that, just in terms of the injuries that Gronk has had and how healthy Travis Kelce has stayed his entire career.
A hot take for me, I think there's a big argument that Kelsey's better than Gronk. I mean, Gronk's had he had a 17 touchdown year. I mean, that's amazing. But if you really compare those stats, so 5 years of 1,000 yards, putting up touchdowns, given you have Mahomes, but Gronk did it all with Brady. So I don't know. I think there's an argument there.
I agree. And in this show, I have a new way of analyzing content on the show, not just interviewing one-on-one. As much as I love to do that, I can still do that while providing the viewing audience a little bit of some analytical tape assessment of both Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. So you and I are actually going to dive deep into some film of Pat Mahomes this season and Tom Brady this season, point out what we like, point out how dynamic these two quarterbacks are in their own right. So we'll get into it here between Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. I want to start off with Pat Mahomes, though, because for my money right now, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. For my money right now, Pat Mahomes is not just one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, maybe one of the better quarterbacks that I have ever seen in general. So let's share this here. I'm super pumped up for this.
It's
game.
always fun. It's always fun to watch Mahomes go on the big screen.
So here's what we're seeing here. We're seeing first couple plays, they're dinking and dunking down the field. But obviously with Mahomes, something that just blows my mind is his ability to literally run backwards in the pocket and throw the football 40, 60 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a quarterback play the game like this? Have we ever seen that? I don't think I have.
A little. The one person I've seen do it is Josh Allen, honestly. But no, you really don't see it like that, where he's rolling out backwards and you're able to make a throw on the run, really off his back foot going backwards, right on the money, too. I mean, it's kind of remarkable that someone can do that. And there's another good example. He'll do all of that and lug it up 60 yards. It's insane. Yeah. It's honestly too hard to cover at times when Tyreek Hill's bolting down the field and all he does is roll out and it's gone. It's nuts.
I've never seen a quarterback be able to throw the football off his back foot 60 yards quite like that. And to your point, the only guy in the league that can do it and accurately is Josh Allen. So, this goes to the fact that we did play these guys in the AFC title game. We got shellacked. It wasn't a close game at all. I hate to say that. It looked like we were completely out of our element. But how tough is it to go up against this team? It's obviously tough for everybody, being that they've been to back-to-back Super Bowls, and you have not just the obvious players in Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey, but I think Mecole Hardman, I want your take on this. I think he could be a number 2 wide receiver on any other team but the Chiefs. What is your take on the other weapons that the Chiefs have at their disposal?
Yeah, he's got insane speed. It's only his second year, so he's still getting better. He's still learning, and you're right. There's so many better players ahead of him because obviously he's not going to beat out Tyreek Hill. So I could easily see him being a second, third receiver on another team. He's got the speed, he's got the catchability, and also that you have Sammy Watkins on the team. You have, in terms of offense, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The whole team is insane with weapons. But yeah, I think Mecole Hardman could be a second receiver on another team.
Did you have Mahomes for fantasy in any fantasy leagues this year? Obviously, we've talked fantasy before.
Yes, I did.
So how did that? What was the result of that season?
So it was a little unfortunate. I had Mahomes and I had Kyler Murray because it's a super flex. So it sounds great, right? But my running back, Christian McCaffrey, wasn't out, so that was terrible. And I had Michael Thomas as well, who barely played. So unfortunately, I lost in the first round of the playoffs. Quite devastating, but it is a keeper league auction. So I got Mahomes locked up for a 5-year deal, and that was a done deal. Like, as soon as I got him in the auction, I go, I'm taking him 5 years. See you guys later.
So it's a keeper league, basically dynasty league, where when you take somebody, you have them for the next 5 years?
No, actually, this one's really awesome. So it's an auction league, right? And whatever you bet on the guy, so if you bet, you have a $500 budget. So if I bet 70 on Mahomes, you then sign a contract. His first year's 70, and with each year it goes up like $1 or $2, depending on, the bigger contracts, the more it goes up. So, and you can either decide to sign him for 3 years, 2 years. I took him for 5. So like by the end of it, his contract will go up like $20. And we keep it all in an Excel sheet. It's quite remarkable. So you really got to do GM work too.
Right. You have to literally pick a team. It's almost like playing Madden, but in fantasy football. I
have cap problems. I have like 540 going into next year. I got to cut some players, or I got to move some players out to clear cap space. It's awesome.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah. So we're seeing here on the highlights. This throw to Clyde Edwards-Helaire over his shoulder to the sideline. He found a way to get the ball to virtually anyone in any situation. And we've even seen in this game against the Ravens put pressure on Mahomes. They forced him to move out of the pocket. It didn't matter. Tampa Bay's defensive strategy in this one is to probably pressure Mahomes, but there's no such thing. He's throwing touchdown passes to Eric Fisher in the corner of the end zone, for Christ's sake. How do you stop this guy? And can you contain him?
this is the thing. There's really not much containing of him because you can't. Okay, so you can't contain him in the pocket because he'll beat you up. So if you flush him out of the pocket, he'll beat you up too. So there's really nothing you can do. You would have to literally contain him in the pocket and get to him in like a second, right? Like that would be your only move. Just blitz him and literally get to him before he can throw the ball. And he does it so fast anyways, and I think it's pretty much impossible. There's really no stopping him at times.
You have the best quarterback in the NFL. You have, as you said, a guy that I would someone endorse that hot take that Travis Kelce's better than Rob Gronkowski, especially the last few years.
Yeah.
Kelce, obviously, on this one, he can take it to the house at any given play. He has breakaway speed for a man of his size. He can block. He can be out wide, as lined up as a wide receiver. They can do a lot of different things with Tyreek Hill as well, and reverses and using his
run
speed.
It to Kelce too.
Right.
The little chip shots to him.
Yeah, and we saw the shovel pass too on this highlight. Mahomes kind of just shoveling the ball to Travis Kelce up the middle. And then you have the fact that Mahomes can actually run with the football, which he's kind of taken that out of his game a little bit. But he was a pretty dynamic scrambling quarterback his technically rookie season, but we haven't really seen that much this year. He's been looking to throw more.
Yeah, I just think because there's so many weapons and it always works, right? Like on that shuffle play, he starts to roll out. So if he sees it, he can just run. If it's not there and they're going to pinch him off, he can shovel it, which usually always works. Or he's got people leaking out in the end zone wide open because Tyreek Hill's flashing across the back of the end zone. He has three options right there. One of them's going to work. Like, there's no stopping them when they do that play. Like, how do you prevent that? There's really no way to do it.
And also, you have to throw out the fact that they have Sammy Watkins, who, much like in Buffalo, has been very injury prone. But when he's out
really
there,
good.
He's extremely good, right? Yep. And obviously, this game we're watching them play our Buffalo Bills, who couldn't contain a tight end all season long, and obviously Travis Kelce was going to have a field day against us in the regular season or in the playoffs because of that. Oh, that was frustrating. But for a defense as good as Buffalo's to have a tough time against this offense, what are you thinking points wise in the Super Bowl for Kansas City? If you were just to say, points wise, how many points do you see?
Points just for the Chiefs?
Right.
I'm feeling either like I'm going to guess both. Like, I'm thinking the game could end up being like a 27-24 game, Chiefs winning. If anything, they put up another touchdown. You know what I mean? So maybe like 34, but I think that's right around there. Like 27-34 will probably do it in because, the team's scoring over 20, right? Like, this ain't going to be a 10-7 game. Like, that's not happening. So, yeah, I'm going to go 34.
34? Okay.
I'm going to go 34.
I agree. It's definitely in the 30s. I'm watching this offense just find any which way possible to move the football down the field, whether it's Mahomes making the throws or, I will say the weapons, getting to the football. Sometimes Mahomes throws it to only where the receiver can get it, but the receiver does go get it, whether it's even Edwards-Helaire or Hill or Kelce. This highlight reel, to me, it's a Pat Mahomes highlight reel for sure. But this highlight reel for me shows that this Chiefs offense, this is like a 1 in a million, lightning in a bottle type offense.
Think about it. Seriously, think about it. What stops them from going next year again? And probably the year after that. Maybe cap trouble. Would that be the only thing that stops them? Because if this crew, at least on offense, is still there, they're at least making to the AFC Champ game every year. And it's going to be hell for us, I'll tell you that much. I'm not excited, but it's going to be fun.
That was the next narrative that I kind of wanted to get into, and that, after that AFC title game, we're just happy to be there. As Buffalo Bills fans, we hadn't seen this team achieve success at that level in, almost 30 years. So we make it to the AFC title game. We knew if we made it to the AFC title game that we would probably face the Chiefs. It was a pretty safe bet that we were going to face the Chiefs. And to go down like that, it did show me that the Chiefs are 4 or 5 steps ahead of the Bills.
Oh yeah, it's not it's not one. It's at least a couple steps ahead.
Right.
A lot of moving parts.
3 or 4, depending on what Buffalo does this offseason. But it goes. I love Josh Allen, but when you watch Pat Mahomes make these throws, is it tough for you to acknowledge that the Bills traded that pick away to Kansas City that allowed them to take Pat Mahomes?
Though I still don't get too mad about that though. Like,
Right.
because it wasn't like we literally traded Mahomes. Like there was
Mhm.
9 other teams that could have taken him too, and they didn't.
True.
Right.
Yep.
And we really weren't ready to draft a quarterback yet. So I think like it was the right move to do. Right. There was no need to draft him yet. We were still kind of building up. It does suck though. Like it does suck. He was right there. Like you could have this guy on your team. But also, I mean, you might have got into this. Would it have been the same career? I mean, I know he'd be good,
Right.
but like it would totally be a different offense. Like I don't think he'd be bad, but this is a really good team he's on with a good coach. So
Right.
it's a really good setup for him. And I know that is definitely part of thriving. It is. There's no question about it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I touched on it a little bit earlier with like that whole greatest show on turf, analogy. Kurt Warner was very good, obviously, but he got put onto a team that you had, Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator, Torrey Holt, who Hall of Famer, Isaac Bruce, Hall of Famer. These are elite level players at their position, in the history books. The same thing, has to be said for this Chiefs offense. I mean, Tyreek Hill is one of the greatest speed demon receivers I've ever seen.
He's really establishing that too.
Unbelievable. I mean, we're watching it even in that little, motion type play where Tyreek Hill is just streaking across the field underneath the offensive line. Mahomes can just pitch the ball to him. I mean,
he's so fast and he's so elusive. He's just like this little tiny guy, and there's really nothing you can do. And that was another good argument. So the past couple of years, everyone's like, Tyreek Hill's just fast. I'm like, he's not just fast. He can really catch the ball too. He as small as he is, he'll go up in double coverage and come out with the ball. I don't understand. He's a really good receiver too.
Yeah,
kind of a scumbag, but he is a really good receiver.
Right? Yeah, you could throw that out there. That's a fair assessment.
But he really is good. Yeah, I think he is a true. He's definitely a true number one receiver. He's definitely top 5 in the league too. When I see him out of the top 5, I'm like, guys, come on. I mean, he's the fastest receiver for the most part. He catches every ball that comes his way. He also makes plays out of nothing. Like he'll get like a 10-yard catch and rattle off 50 yards past 10 defenders. It's unheard of.
What I am just shocked by, on one hand, I'm not, because they're such a good team. They're going to be able to attract free agents. But when the Jets cut Le'Veon Bell, I knew that it was a foregone conclusion he was going to go to Kansas City. Like it was just, the stars aligned. But they haven't really used Le'Veon Bell a whole lot.
Not at all.
Do you think we will see him today in this Super Bowl at all?
Honestly, I don't think they'll use him much because this isn't a team that needs to get like tricky in their playbook, right? They don't need to like dig up stuff to beat the Bucs. They already have a team that works. You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to like, oh, we're going to come out with Le'Veon Bell now. We haven't used him all year to trick them. They don't need that, right? They're just going to stick to their game plan. You have, like I said, Hill, Kelsey, Mahomes, and they're just going to ball out like usual. By the way, right there's another great catch by Hill. Look at that.
This game was unbelievable. I mean, and this is
wait, this was a 27-24 game, right?
Right. And I mean, look how wide open, not on this play, but the separation that he's able to get on, I believe there was another touchdown right after this one that is just unbelievable. My jaw was literally.
He had 200 yards in the first quarter, I believe, Tyreek Hill.
Right. Yeah. I believe it's this play. Let's see here. No, he does take this one.
Yeah, like he's just.
Yeah, he takes this one up. I didn't. Yeah, I know that there's another one in this game where he had like 15 yards in front, ahead of him, ahead of the DB.
And that happens a lot too.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of times. I mean, even Kelsey can rattle. Look at him. This isn't fair. Also, real quick, before the play comes up, what happens if you flopped Allen? So Allen's on this team and Mahomes is on the Bills. Obviously, it's hard to really think about what would happen, but I would love to see Allen in this team.
He made these guys look like fools.
I mean, and then does a backflip into the end zone. It's like, sorry, guys.
It's unbelievable. To your question, though, I definitely feel that Josh Allen would shred the league in this offense. And I think Mahomes and Stephon Diggs would be one of the best duos in the league as well. So I think it does show you that, both of these quarterbacks are really good in Mahomes and Allen, and I think they're the future of the league. Mahomes and Allen are technically the present and the future of the league. But
Yeah, I think so too.
I definitely think that both players have great offenses as well. So, one hand washes the other in
Yeah.
this sense. But I mean, I've just been so just shocked at how dominant they have been, even more dominant, I think, this year than they have been last year. And because it's expected, it's not really talked about as much as it was last year, where they were really, bursting onto the scene, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Tampa's going to stop this offense.
I just don't think they can, honestly. Also,
yep.
Just get into the Bills real quick too. I know it's easier said than done, but I really think they need to just strive for a player like Tyreek Hill, like just a straight speed demon. That because there's sometimes Mahomes literally is rolling out for life, and again he just looks up and goes, "Oh, he has 10 yards on. I'm lugging it." You don't even think he can make the throw, just like Allen could, right? Because again, he could roll out off back foot and rip it 60 yards too. I want a player like that. Now John Brown's fast, but he's a great receiver all around. I want like a John Ross, just a straight down the field go. Open up the secondary that could pull a safety sometimes. It'll clear up a lot of room.
I think, I hate to say it, I hate to do it, I hate to put this up, but this is the NFC Championship game highlights. Let me go to the actual AFC Championship game highlights, because I have not done this on the show where I actually look at the film of a game that we lost. So it's going to be tough for me to watch bits and pieces of this game. But
we'll have a couple tears come down.
Right. Well, I'll put that on here. But to your question, though, I do feel that, in terms of the Bills off season, I feel like that's the team that the Bills have to get better to beat the Chiefs. Like that's
on the offensive side.
On the offensive side, you feel, yeah.
I think so, because again, it's like I don't want to play a game where I'm like, let's try to stop Mahomes and Kelsey and hit. Like it really doesn't happen. You're going to have to shoot them out and hopefully go ahead, right? They proved that in the AFC Champ game. We clearly had a better defense, but it just doesn't matter. They're so good. You're going to have to be able to compete with them step for step.
Between, the decisions of John Brown, will they keep John Brown? Cole Beasley, he's getting a little older and he was banged up. I do think Cole Beasley is going to be here next year, but beyond,
I think he'll sign I think he'll be here next year. I don't know if John Brown will be here. Not sure.
What would you say percentage-wise? How confident are you that he won't be or will be?
It's hard because, number one, they clearly want him there. Like, right, that's not the question. Question is cap and, like, what's available. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not like we don't want him. I'm not sure it's going to work. So, signs are pointing more or less like 75% I don't think he'll be here, right? Because I'm not hearing much talk of us keeping him. You know what I mean? I haven't heard much chatter. It could happen, and I would like it. I'd be happy. I don't want to overpay too much, but
I think that they need to be smart with their money, especially in an offseason like this.
Don't do what we did years ago, where we then have to, get stuck into contracts. Unfortunately, it sucks when people got to walk. But if it doesn't work financially for your team, like, trust the process. Honestly, you have good contracts. Like Josh Allen's still good to go, and now you got Diggs. There's no need to rush into John Brown. He'll get paid somewhere if you have to, right? There's still players we can get. There's still the draft. There's players. You know what I mean? We got to be able to draft well. We don't need to just get into contracts we don't need.
So in the first drive, they kick a field goal. I'm thinking, okay, field goal's nice. Allen's moving. He's getting comfortable. He gets a big gain here. We're moving the ball, and I'm thinking, okay, this is all right. And I'm feeling okay. But then there's moments like this where this is bad Josh Allen, where he just can't take a sack, and he gets dropped for a loss of 13. Really, the only play that the Bills offense could make was Allen scrambling. The coverage of this Chiefs defense, I haven't seen the wide view of it yet, but the coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs must have been great all night long. right?
Yeah. And didn't they
For us,
stuff him at the goal line or the red zone twice?
I believe they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
leading up to that fumble there, and then obviously Knox gets in. I'm thinking 9-0.
Yeah, because I think that one worked.
What was that?
Yeah, so because they score there, you're like, okay, this might not be terrible. And then Mahomes did his Mahomes things, and then that's when they just start step, and they don't stop scoring. And when you're off, like, because again, if we had a great offense, we do have a good offense, but if we had it even stronger, we would have been able to just keep the pace going, and you would have beat the Chiefs. You know what I mean? You're going to have to beat them with offense.
The fact that we didn't really have a run game all season long,
it's terrible,
is really what frustrates me. And I know Brian Dable did a great job, and he won assistant coach of the year, and their offense was prolific and everything. But how do you not find a way to establish a run game at any point in a 19-week season? I mean, it just.
I mean, how do you think they even fix that? Like, you already got two running, but you just drafted two. Do you really draft a third? Do you sign another one? Do you just sign a veteran and still hope we will get this run game going? Like, what was the problem?
I think the problem, to be honest, was the sequence of how they used the run game. It was in obvious situations, right?
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, the way they chose to use the run game, the moments they used the run game was extremely obvious, and I think that Singletary is not really a fast running back. He's more of like a
change of
pace guy. Yeah, and Moss I really liked, but this play was just terrible. Oh my God, it was awful. The Mecole Hardman reverse, but I think Moss, it was doing really well prior to the injury. He was but it was in limited opportunities. Dable didn't want to run the ball or really establish a run game.
He'd run with Josh Allen like 7 times. That I was not a fan of.
You were not a fan of that. Okay. I was going to get your take on that because I had a lot of people battling with me on Twitter that, it was okay that, they got to use the run game in any which way possible. And if that's the way to do it, that's the way to do it. It's like,
but that's the thing, though. It doesn't really – listen, he can do it. I don't think he should be doing designed runs, maybe 1 or 2 a game to try to trick the defense, right? That's fine. You should not be doing 7 or 8 designed runs to Allen. And they're not even really designed. They're just like scramble and go. It's like, come on. 1 of them, fine. Maybe you catch him off guard. 2, maybe fine. But you got to get the actual run game going because you know what else? The run game breaks down a defense. You don't want Josh Allen trucking people, so you don't want him to be the guy breaking down the defense. You want Zach Moss pummeling them in the backfield and hopefully breaking the defense down to where you can keep driving. Then you can start airing the ball out. I just really didn't like Allen running that much. And you're risking his health, too. You know what I mean? So it wasn't working, and his health was for risk.
The part that really ticked me off about this game at this moment, it's 2:55 left.
By the way, real quick, that was the off the back foot throw right on the money.
Yes, that was probably one of his best throws in that game.
Impressive
for sure.
That's a scary throw, but he does it. I'm like, if you get it there,
and he can do it, week in, week out.
Yeah, he finally proved I'm not scared when he does those throws anymore. I'm scared when he starts backing up, trying not to get sacked.
That was That was a missile right there. That one, when he was under pressure, he had guys in his face, and he got that to Knox on the sideline. That was big. But this was the part that really ticked me off. You have 11 seconds left. You're going against the Kansas City Chiefs. You settle for a field goal, knowing that the Chiefs get the ball back at halftime. You're down 21-12. Why kick it there? Why not?
Again, they know it. It's not a mystery. You need to put up points to beat this team. You're not going to win by, and when I say points, like a lot of points. So you getting field goals is not really going to help. You would have been better off going for those. If you didn't get them, you were going to lose anyways if you went for field goals, which we did. Just like the Packers. You know what I mean? It was like, guys, you might as well go for this because you have Brady coming back with the ball. You're going to lose unless you score a point here. Could have closed it out.
As far as the highlights of that game, it only got worse from there for me. So
let's put that away. Let's put that away.
But I definitely felt like there were moments that we had moments of opportunity to win against the Chiefs. People can say whatever they want, but I personally thought that the first half we just gave that game away. We gave it away. We
I mean,
handed it to them.
You get a good drive, you get a field goal. Okay, start the game. Then you literally get handed a free touchdown. Now you're in a great position, right? Again, you have the upper hand now. You can keep scoring. You keep pace, you win. Instead, they just started kicking field goals, getting stuffed, started getting weak. And I'm like, see, they're just going to pry on you now. You know what I mean? And that's what they did. And they just kept scoring. Because I know that team wouldn't be going for field goals, right? If they were down like that, they're like, we're scoring.
Right. They go full throttle. They step on people's throats as they should. And, now we discussed the Chiefs. We kind of looked at the highlights of the Chiefs and the Bills. I want to look at some Tom Brady highlights. Yeah. I really want to watch Tom Brady just throw these dimes at the age of 43 to the supporting cast that he has. I started the video. I was watching little bits and pieces of it prior to the broadcast here. But what a damn season Tom Brady has had. It has been an unbelievable season for him.
Look at that wide open throw.
That one was easy. Take me through what your expectations were for Tom Brady prior to the season starting and what your thoughts are on Brady's season right now.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're far off. I knew he wasn't going to do bad, right? I mean, he's the greatest of all time. The age clearly doesn't really matter too much. He's not running anyways, right? So, what's going to stop him from throwing this ball? And he had a lot of weapons I knew coming into it, right? I mean, from Gronk and Godwin and Evans. I did not think they'd be a Super Bowl team. That I will say. I thought it was going to take a little bit more acclimating. I feel like that's mainly because I always, as a Bills fan, you kept thinking, Brady's got to be done soon, right? And I don't know. You have to stop thinking that. You just got to be like, he's never done. He could probably play at least 50 if he wanted. But, I would say they were a little less than what's going on now. But I totally understand why he's doing this. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. I didn't think he couldn't do this. I just didn't think he would. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You knew he could play. You didn't think he would be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just thought they would be like a fringe playoff team, and because it's a new team, and he is older still, it'll affect you. And I thought they would, because they lost games. They weren't, they weren't 15-1. They lost games, but I thought. But then the problem is Tom Brady in the playoffs. You just don't. I know he hasn't played. He threw 3 picks in the one game, but still, he's just so good. I mean, the throws he can make are just sometimes not fair either.
Look at this throw to Scotty Miller.
That's
over
just a beauty.
Back shoulder.
I mean, it was just lift your arm, make a bucket, buddy. Just make a bucket.
He's seeing the field. I mean, he's one of the best to line up under center and read a defense. Him and Peyton Manning, I think, are the two best at that. In terms of what I've seen in my fanhood, it's always tough too with like these greatest of all time discussions because it's like I can only go off of what I've seen. I can't say Joe Montana because I didn't watch Joe Montana. I wasn't even born yet. Yeah. So I can only go off of what I've seen. And I mean, Peyton Manning now in the Hall of Fame. Tom Brady is, I mean, if there was ever a case for a guy getting inducted while playing, I think Tom Brady should be that guy, right?
He could have been inducted 3 years ago, 4 years, 5 years ago. I mean,
I don't know what the heck's going on with this video. It like paused on me. But this throw, I'll go to Scotty. This was a Scotty Miller touchdown. He drops back a rainbow of a pass.
Oh my God. In the corner, right on the side.
Of the end zone.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Like, it's just, he's still elite. He is still one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. People can say whatever they want, but I mean, how they match up against the Chiefs, though, offensively, to the Chiefs defense, we talked about how we see this as a shootout type game. Who on this Bucs offense really impresses you outside of Brady, obviously?
Honestly, I still think he don't get enough credit is Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans. In that draft, he was one of my favorites. It was with Odell, Sammy Watkins. He's so big, but he's got speed on the outside too. He can easily line up like
right there.
He's huge. Yeah, he's huge, but he can still spray. He gets breakaway speed too sometimes. And I just think he's really good. And a lot of times he gets I mean, I don't want to say he's underrated, but you know what I mean, though. Like,
Yeah,
this doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think.
he doesn't, and I think it's because he doesn't have like the speed like
Like,
dimension that like a Tyreek Hill
yeah,
does.
exactly.
He
Yeah.
doesn't really do anything that's exciting, like wow, but he's just a solid, reliable, big body
Big
wide
body,
receiver.
yeah.
Yeah. I really like, I mean, that catch right there on the sideline against Minnesota, two dudes just fall right off of him. I
Yep.
mean, physically, he is as gifted as any
Well, that's
receiver.
why it's nice, because he could take hits. He ain't dropping that ball.
No.
Look, you're seeing all highlights of him now, actually.
Yeah, the timing on that choice was pretty good. The
Yeah,
guy that I
same.
really like, well, obviously there's AB there. The guy that I really like is Chris Godwin. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's
Oh, yeah.
his ability to get open and his ability to catch balls in traffic is just undeniable. And when I look at this Tampa Bay offense, and we're seeing the highlights of Brady throwing bombs to Scotty Miller, Johnson the rookie.
Yeah, it's like, who's Scotty Miller?
Who the hell is Scotty Miller?
Yeah, like who's Scotty Miller? Well, Brady's playing with him, so he's doing well. Right? Like, who the hell is Scotty Miller? If you told me Scotty Miller is gonna be balling out this year, right? I'd be like, what are you talking? Who is that? Like,
Right.
yeah.
The fact that you had all these players say, well, we know we're going to be a lot better with Tom Brady, but how much better are we going to be from Jameis Winston to Tom Brady? I mean, come on. I mean, Jameis Winston was a bust, right? Like, can we say that?
I think it's pretty much official. I did hear people are looking at him a little bit, but I think it's safe to say he's a bust. I just don't know how he gets back into the game in a starting role and then actually thrives. I think he'll have a backup, though, so I guess a bust for his pick value, but I think he'll be around.
I just can't believe how Brady was literally able to go to Tampa Bay, call his shot, literally bring in his own players, brings in Rob Gronkowski, brings in Antonio Brown, brings in LaShawn McCoy.
Fournette comes over.
That's the guy. I want your take on this. I think Leonard Fournette might be the X factor of this game.
Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot about it too, because number one, the Chiefs have a very bad run defense. So if you get Fournette going, they're going to need that. Now, the problem with this, though, is when you start getting down, you can't really run as much. You know, you're going to have to throw the ball more. And the Chiefs can just bite you so fast. So you pretty much need to get that run game going almost instantly, right? Like you need Fournette to come out the gates barreling, stumbling, bumbling. And if you get that going and you can keep either a lead or, you know, within 7 points, you can keep running the ball. But if you start getting down 7-14, you know, like you're going to not be running as much, and then Fournette's going to be useless. But, yeah, I think he's a big X factor in this. And he's been playing well the last couple of weeks.
I looked at we're getting a stupid YouTube ad.
I could use a Truly, though.
I could, too. I guess that's exposure for Truly, as if they need any more.
No free ads. No free ads. Block them out.
But when you play a video, you get the YouTube ad. But anyway, Buccaneers, Packers, NFC Championship. I think this highlight reel actually shows how the Bucs could beat the Chiefs. Call me crazy, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, again, I would pick the Chiefs, but I don't think it's impossible for the Bucs to win. I mean, they played them and they only lost by 3, right? Like,
there's a touchdown. There's a touchdown in this game by Leonard Fournette that is utterly just ridiculous what he did.
Mike Evans is all over these highlights now, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's literally quietly just catch after catch.
Outside of Buffalo and Green Bay, like it literally came down to the 4 best offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I think so too.
The 3rd best, I think, was Buffalo's. Green Bay's 3rd, Buffalo 4, whatever, however you want to rank them.
Chiefs won, put it that way.
Chiefs won, yeah, and Bucs won. So, but you see a lot of movement too of this offense. They love to throw a lot of movement at the defense, whether it's Scotty Miller underneath or Chris Godwin underneath. Yep. Antonio Brown has been like that deep threat burner that he was in Pittsburgh. And I like Cameron Brate a lot too. What do you think of like the fact that Mike Evans, Godwin, but I like looking at some of these other pieces too that these offenses have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For instance, what is it? Ronald Jones, right? He's been playing well all year. He's a good running back. If you can get Fournette and him going, Fournette's punching up the middle, then you have Ronald Jones coming in, and Ronald Jones rattles off some big yards. I mean, you could take a good lead. And yeah, Cameron Braid is really good. He's a better at this point in time. I think he might be a better tight end in some aspects than Gronk, because Gronk's a really good run blocker. So people forget that too. When he's not making splashes in the pass game, he's helping a lot in the run game too. So, but I don't want to talk about Gronk. He's got enough publicity.
What about OJ Howard? I mean,
OJ Howard's fantastic too. So you know what? When you really break it down, their offense is really not fair either. I mean, you have 10 not all-stars, but a lot of players. OJ Howard's a number one tight end probably on a lot of teams, right?
I would say so. And I mean, that was a dude that I really wanted Buffalo to maybe consider in the first round, the year that they took I think the year they took Trey White. I think the year that Mahomes was taken, OJ Howard came out, if my memory serves me right. But I mean, this was it right here. Just ridiculous.
And he's big too. Like, he's got bulk to him, so he's not easy to take down.
That's the dude that I would be feeding the ball early on in this game. If I'm Bruce Arians and we get the ball to open the game, I'm dragging out this drive with some Leonard Fournette, with some Ronald Jones, like playing it, time of possession, smart, trying to keep Pat Mahomes off the field. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want to do, because, again, that is the Chiefs' weak spot too. Their run D is not great. So if you can start exploiting that and you have a good run game, just mix and match. Bad run defense, you have good running backs. Pound it up. You know what I mean? Because then when you get a lead, you need a lead. And
Buffalo, to your point, they couldn't do that against the Chiefs because they have no run game.
They couldn't at all. Because people understand too, not only when you're pounding the ball up the middle like that and rattling off these runs, that opens up the passing game. You know what I mean? It'll open up opportunities too. So you have to get everything clicking. And yeah, when you're not doing that, you're not worrying about the run. You couldn't pressure on it. It was just too easy to beat us at that point.
Right here in the game, Tampa Bay's defense showed up. Tampa Bay's defense showed up throughout this entire game. I think they're a big X factor too, because they've just been clicking really well. And if they can step up too, and again, you're not going to hold Mahomes, but if you can not hold them, maybe to 30 points instead of 40, what I mean? Yeah, maybe hold them to like 27 or 4, maybe you can win. But I mean, it kind of sounds crazy. Like, that's a good defense against Mahomes, right? If you hold them to like 24, like, that's good D. Right.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin had a great catch in this game. It might have already shown it, maybe not, but it was literally over his head. He had to go the complete opposite way from his right to his left, or his left to his right. I can't remember, but they'll show that in this highlight. And you're seeing it here, like Aaron Rodgers just getting brought down by this defensive line of the Bucs. And I know Green Bay's offensive line isn't great, but this Bucs defensive line looked pretty damn good in this game. They were flying all over the field.
That's big, because didn't the Chiefs lose an O-lineman too, one of their good O-linemen?
They did.
They tore his Achilles or something, if I'm remembering correctly, in our game.
Yeah, they did. I can't remember which lineman that was. My memory serves me right. I think it was a guard, but I can't remember.
It wasn't the center. I think it was a guard as well. But yeah, that could be huge. The only problem with that is, again, even when you get pressure on Mahomes, he'll just roll out and kill you. But you're going to have to try to get Mahomes rattled.
That pass by Brady with 2 seconds left to Scotty Miller down the sideline. It's just, I mean, people can say what they want. I don't know why they do, but you got to just tip your cap to them at this point. It's ridiculous. I mean, what is your like love-hate relationship with Tom Brady? Like, do you look at him and you're like, not the greatest, or do you just say, hey, he's the best?
Yeah. So for the past couple of years, I finally accepted Brady is amazing. Like, I was fine with it.
Another truly ad.
They really want us to get drinking, huh? I mean, it's a Super Bowl.
But
yeah, I think he's easily the greatest of all time, or at least to the argument, and I'm not mad at him anymore. Like, it sucked he was in our division, but he really is so good and puts the work in every week. Like, he's not a scumbag player, you know what I mean? So it got to the point where it was like, it really sucks that you're beating us so much, but you're so good, and I can't be mad at you. So I do like him now, you know, and it was cool that he was able to be like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the NFC and pick a team and win. And he did it again. How do you not root for that?
He literally was like, oh, well, people want me out of the spotlight of, Bill Belichick. People don't think I can get out of his shadow. Well, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. And then Belichick's like, shit. Shit.
What do you think of that whole thing? Like the fact that, people would say Brady's success was largely attributed to the fact that he was paired with Belichick. I've never understood that.
Not largely. Like, of course, they were a great combo. Like, that's, there's no denying that. But there's no way, like, people used to literally say, oh, if Brady played with someone else, he would be terrible. It's like, I don't think that's the case. Like, that's right. Definitely not the case. Maybe he'd have, like, one less Super Bowl, maybe two less. Or maybe not like that, but I just no. I don't like that.
Yeah. No. And it doesn't make sense because it's like, that's not reality. Reality is he was a 6th round pick that was picked and he played with Bill Belichick. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. No, I mean, look at the throws he makes. How is that Belichick? Like, that's not Belichick doing anything. He does scheme well. Again, a big part of it, though, like, he did help. It's just don't sit there and tell me that Brady's nothing without Belichick. And he finally proved it, too. He was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Like, I'll show you that it's not. And he 100%, even if they get blown out today, he already proved it. He went to the Super Bowl in 1 year. It's like a busted up team.
Right. Yeah. A team that, Jameis Winston's throwing 30 TDs and 30 interceptions on.
Yeah, I mean, that's something with like 5,000 yards.
30 for 30, Jameis Winston's 2019 season.
I mean, it was just funny, though. Like, they're down, so it's like he's just slinging the ball like 50 times. You know what I mean? It's like he was a great fantasy quarterback, too, because he would throw so much.
He threw it a ton. And, I mean, the fact that they brought in Leonard Fournette, it kind of balanced their offense. With Brady and Fournette. I think Fournette has kind of given them a balanced offense. I know they're throwing the ball a lot with Brady too, obviously, but that dimension, I think Fournette has gotten hot at the right time, and we've seen that in the playoffs. And now, will we see that? I mean, that to me, like, to your point, Kansas City's run defense is garbage. Like, they're bad.
And we couldn't even run, but yeah. No more Bills talk.
I just don't get how you can't establish a run game an entire season. I just don't. I don't get it.
And two young running backs, and
their line was fine. Their line was great this year.
Yeah, I say good if not great O line. Yeah, Dable just never committed to it because he'd run Allen 7 times and then a couple with Moss, Singletary, and that was it.
So, score predictions here for the game. Score predictions are my favorite segment. You kind of touched on what you see as the score and how to contain the Chiefs. 34 points. That's what you see, max, the Chiefs getting in this game?
Honestly, I think it's – well, no, not max.
Do you think it could be more than 34?
I think it easily could. Like, it easily could, right? But I'm my guess, though, is 34-31 Chiefs. And I don't think that's, like – it's going to be not as close as you think. Right, like the Chiefs will probably be winning all game, and it'll kind of come to the fourth, and like Brady will put up a late touchdown, but it just doesn't matter, and then they win. That's my prediction. I could easily also see the Chiefs. I mean, 34-21, but I'm gonna lock in like 34-31. Chiefs beat the Bucs.
I think it is going to be a really close game. I've been thinking this since the AFC and NFC championship games ended and we knew the result. We knew that the Bucs were playing in Tampa Bay. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go on the road in the playoffs, beating the Washington football team, Taylor Heinicke, shout out to him, he showed up, but it wasn't going to be enough, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
The Saints, Drew Brees playing with, cracked ribs and being the warrior that he is, still, the Saints just didn't really seem to have it this year.
No, they're like, a good, not good team. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
definitely didn't look Super Bowl ready because Breeze's arm has been locking, but they had so many players that they were able to win games and a good D.
You're right. Tom Brady goes to Lambeau against the NFL MVP ultimately and Aaron Rodgers, and we saw the highlights of that game. He's throwing touchdown passes from the 40 with 1 second left in the first half to Scotty Miller on the sideline. He's playing like Tom Brady. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. I've been thinking it the entire week.
Wow.
I'm either losing my mind or I'm so much a home. I'm a momentum believer that prior to the Chiefs playing the Bills, they really didn't look like the Chiefs that they did throughout the season. They had some weeks where things were kind of slow moving in comparison to what the Chiefs are accustomed to. Now, normally,
and they'll have some big plays and still win, but they weren't like rhythmically flowing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Momentum's huge.
And I think that whoever has the ball last in this game is going to win it.
Which a lot of times is Brady. So do you think it's going to be something where like the Chiefs are up, 30, or well, maybe not, that's a lot, but like say 24-10 going into the third, and Brady does Brady things, starts battling back, and then like, late in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady gets the ball and breaks you.
I could see it being like 24-17 Chiefs. Then the Chiefs kick a field goal. 27
Bucks score, 20, and then eventually stop them, get the ball back again, drive down.
Right. I see it being 24-17 Bucks or 24-17 Chiefs. Then the Chiefs get a field goal to make it a 10-point game. Then the Bucks make it 27-24, and then the Bucks stop the Chiefs, and then Tom Brady has another amazing drive, and they win like 31-27. That's
or what if it's an overtime? That'd be something.
The only time a Super Bowl has went into overtime was that Falcons Super Bowl, right? With the
I think so.
Yeah.
Which is, what's funny too. We actually won squares on that because when Brady went down and scored, we had like, what was it, 6 and something, right? And 6 is a weird number. But because it was overtime, they weren't kicking the extra point. It was done. They scored. That was it. Ended up hitting the square because of it.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, they're not kicking that extra point. It's done. And it was like, wow, I can't believe that happened.
Now, with a win in this Super Bowl, if Tom Brady does win his 7th Super Bowl, do you think he'll come back?
Yeah.
I do too.
He honestly, because there's 2 things. If he loses, I don't think he wants to quit then. And even if he wins, he's like, well, I just won another Super Bowl. Why not try to go for another? I could still do it. You know what I mean? I don't think his mindset was like Peyton, where he was like, all right, I got it. I'm getting out of here.
Right. Yeah. And Peyton, with all due respect, Peyton Manning, I mean, one of the greatest. Him and Tom are my top 2. He was shot in that last season. Like his arm was just gone.
Yeah.
We're seeing Tom Brady make these throws. It's like, dude, you could probably, like you said, he could probably play until he's 50 if he wanted to.
The only thing that the only thing that can stop Tom Brady is either like an arm injury or something like to where he can't get it that, like Breeze, right? It was like, okay, the arm's clearly not there anymore. He just can't sling it. But Brady's just regimen and everything. Like, I'd say at least to 45, at least, because he'll probably play next year. He'll be 44 next year.
Yeah.
And unless like next year just turns into like an awful year, he might be like, screw it. But he's definitely back next year. I think he's definitely back.
I think we're going to see a really, really good game tonight. I think this is going to be one of the best Super Bowls of all time.
Some people are saying they're like, the Chiefs are going to blow them out. It's going to be a boring 20-point lead game. And I'm like, the Chiefs easily could, but I don't think it'll be that, though. Brady's just too good. He'll at least close the gap, at least, if not win. But
I know a game could either be really, really close or a blowout, but it's crazy how more oftentimes than not in the history of the Super Bowl, these games are blowouts.
Yeah.
They really are.
Freaking blown out before.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, they're either blowouts or they're like the last field goal, field goal to win it or a touchdown to win it. It's pretty amazing.
It's never just like a 10-point win and see you later. Actually, wasn't the Rams Patriots one?
That Super Bowl, the Rams Patriots, the second one
13-3
was terrible. I mean,
it
that
was
game.
show golf shit. Like it was I mean, literally, that was just like McVay, pretty much, right? Like it was just like McVay was trying to control this busted up quarterback. Like,
what are your thoughts on that too? As we kind of come to I like to talk about a topic that I haven't really talked about as I kind of end the show. What were your thoughts on that whole, Stafford Goff trade?
Yeah, so first off, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I want to get this out too. So when this deal was made, everyone went, well, that means Watson's got to be double. And I go, no, not necessarily, because the reason this all worked out was because the Lions are taking a maybe not terrible. I mean, there's an argument that he's terrible, but that contract is terrible. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, it's hard to get someone that's going to retain that contract with that type of quarterback. So that is one thing why they were able to get a lot of picks for him. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people were like, I don't want that contract at all. So that was one of the reasons they got a lot of picks for him. And I think it worked out both ways. I mean, Stafford's a really good player. He's done it with a crappy team. Now he gets to go on a Super Bowl ready team, right? Like they're clearly Super Bowl ready. And the Lions are fine. Now they get a bunch of picks. They can just ride out Goff for a little bit, cut him when they need to, and build up a good team. And then they can even draft a quarterback too.
I thought I agree with you there that the Goff contract is horrendous. It's awful.
It's awful.
Based on what he has done since he got that contract, even more so. But to me, when I first saw the deal, I wasn't shocked. I think this offseason, I want to be on the record, on the show, on the air.
All right, we're here right now.
I think that this offseason will see more quarterback movement than any other offseason in the history of the league.
I mean, you might. I'm going to count this trade as an offseason, so you'd already have these two move in. I mean, Watson, you'd have to imagine, is on the move. They claim they might not trade him, but he does not want to be there at all. So they're going to have to figure something out. Darnold could easily be on the move.
Yep.
That's another player. Tua, man. Watson might go to the Dolphins. I don't know, man. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
I think Watson's getting traded. Wentz is getting traded. Derek Carr could get traded.
Derek Carr could easily get traded.
He could get traded.
There's a lot of speculation that maybe they could be making a move for Watson or something. They got picks. And then,
I have heard that from pretty reliable people.
Yeah, because that's a buy. Because he doesn't. I don't think he should go to a shitty team. And the Raiders aren't crappy. They just. I mean, Watson's a huge addition to that team.
What makes that trade so likely is John Gruden loves Deshaun Watson, number one, and number two, the Texans drafted Derek Carr's brother, David Carr.
Yeah,
and the ownership group is the same, and they like Derek Carr. So it's like, well, that actually makes sense. I could actually see that. I would feel bad for Derek Carr if that happened because the Texans are terrible. But
yeah,
but
now they could build around them. They'll get some picks for it too. They're going to get picks for Watson, so they're going to at least get 2 firsts, probably, right? Like at least they should get like 2 firsts and maybe a player.
Do you think the Eagles will get 2 firsts for Wentz?
Again, it depends where. Because again, this is the reason the Rams did it is because they're Super Bowl ready. So like if they win a Super Bowl, they'll say, "Who gives a shit?" Right? I lost those picks. We just won. So it won't matter anymore. So like if the Colts really needed someone and they really think they're ready to win, which they could be. I mean, if you would have plugged in Wentz instead of Phillip Rivers, because he was lacking a lot that year, Phillip Rivers, he dragged him down a bit. That could be a Super Bowl team. So if you thought, you know what, we'll give up 2 firsts for him. But it's going to be at least a first, I think. But it's also hard to tell because if you were looking for a team where you're flopping quarterbacks, so maybe they're getting someone back as well, then maybe you don't get 2 firsts. But if it's just a straight up trade for Wentz, I think they might get 2 firsts.
Yeah, I agree. I think, to me, I think a team is desperate enough for a quarterback to trade 2 firsts for Wentz, but in my mind, I would never trade 2 firsts for a quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard.
It depends on who it is, obviously. But for Wentz, I'm saying, based on the season that he had, I guess the best fit for Wentz would be the Colts with the Frank
Colts.
Reich connection and everything
Yeah.
like that. But would you trade 2 first-round picks for Wentz or 2 first-round picks for Darnold?
It's really hard because Wentz has showed stardom. Like technically has. Haven't really seen that out of Darnold. I know the team hasn't been great, but you haven't seen it yet. So you'd be taking probably more of a flyer on Darnold. But at the same time, he's younger, and it's really hard. It's really hard.
I wouldn't trade, to be honest.
I wouldn't do it for either.
I wouldn't.
I'll tell you this. I think I would rather do 2 for Wentz because he's been in the league longer. He's shown he can do it. Darnold hasn't shown he can do it. And also, I don't think anyone would trade 2 firsts for Darnold.
No.
So I think if anything, maybe
the only would be the Jets.
Yeah. I think they might get a first for him because they can get Trevor Lawrence. Or no, they can't. I'm sorry, but they have they can get a lot of quarterbacks. But
yeah, there's Justin Fields, there's Trey Lance. There's
players. There's some players. And it gets to a point too where it's like Darnold's been there a while, nothing's worked, right? You might be better off cutting ties and getting something for him because he might not even want to be there anymore. Like they haven't really been making great strides. So
I tell you, when they hired Robert Saleh, he didn't give a ringing endorsement of Sam Darnold. Like if Sam Darnold's watching that introductory press conference, he's probably thinking, "Yeah, I'm not going to be here much longer."
Yeah, you can tell the way they talk. Like they're not, 100%.
Yeah, I think
that's not a bad move for him.
No, I think it would be best for Wentz to get a fresh start, best for Darnold to get a fresh start, and I think Deshaun Watson
definitely
obviously needs a fresh start. Yeah. So
that poor guy.
But you don't think the trade for Goff, or technically the trade for Stafford, you don't think that will be the same package that gets Watson? You think it'll be more, or or the same package?
I'll tell you this: it's not going to be double like people think it will. That's not going to happen. No one's giving up 3 firsts, 2 defensive players. That's absolutely ridiculous. Given Watson has a big contract, but he's good. He's worth that contract. So, no, right. I think it depends a little bit because if they are going if they traded with the Dolphins, you're still getting Tua back, right? So you're getting a quarterback, so you're not going to be ripping first out of people's hands. I think it'll be kind of similar, honestly. I think it'll be similar in a way.
And if you were one of those teams like the Jets, the Dolphins, or any of these teams that need quarterbacks, would you give up if they asked for? So you're saying if they asked for 3 firsts or 4 firsts, you wouldn't do a Watson?
No, that's
I wouldn't either.
Way too much. It's just way too much.
Like 2 firsts, maybe 2 seconds, or a second and a third.
If I was a team that was ready to win, I'd easily give up 2 firsts for Watson. That I would do. If it was, who's ready to go? Like, I don't think he's going to go to the Colts, but a team like that, they're like, we could win this, right? And if we get someone like Watson, But no, 3 firsts, that's absurd. That's unless you're trading for Mahomes. That's a different story.
I would give up 4 or 5 first-round picks for him.
I think if you approach someone with that contract already locked in and you're like 5 first rounds and I'm going to keep Mahomes, I'd contemplate it.
Yeah. And even Allen, too. Allen, if you did a fantasy draft with the rest of the league, I think Mahomes and Allen would be the first 2 picks.
Yeah, because they're young. They're still really young. And they're already pretty much certified. Oh, Mahomes is a star. I think Allen's a star.
Yeah, I think Allen is where Mahomes was past his first season, his rookie season.
Yeah, his rookie season.
He's about to be where Mahomes has been. And I think that's, exciting times are ahead no matter what. It sucks that the season ended the way that it did, but the season itself was so entertaining.
It was fantastic.
Especially with all this crap going on right now. It really was awesome. So
you know what else we could talk about real quick? McDermott got snubbed on Coach of the Year. Snubbed. 13-3, arguably 14-2 because that Cardinals game was BS.
There was a guy on my comment section. I love all the people that watch the show, no doubt about it. But there was a guy that commented on my post about McDermott getting snubbed on Facebook, and he said, "Oh, congrats to Kevin Stefanski. Congrats to the Browns. They deserve it."
I mean, they did, but people deserved it more.
I mean, if the Bills aren't on the same level playing field as the Browns in the eyes of the media, we got some problems.
Yeah, because the Browns were a shaky team.
They won one game in 2 years.
They couldn't even beat Chad Henne, right? That's what
they lost. They lost to Chad Henne.
I know it wasn't the whole game, but like I promise you, if you take Mahomes at if that game was the same, right, and then Henne goes in, we're pummeling them because we would be getting pick sixes.
And not only that, Baker Mayfield is one of the most overrated players in the NFL. Maybe
he is good, but
overrated player. He's in every commercial, and he's not that great. Like you got to be Mahomes to be in those commercials.
Yeah,
he's not even Josh Allen.
A lot of it though is he is a pretty good actor though. Like I couldn't see Josh Allen doing commercials like those, so he does play it well, right? Like imagine Josh Allen. He just doesn't he's just a big goofy guy. So I don't think he'll be getting those deals, but
right. But yeah, Stefanski, you're like, oh, he's 10-6, first playoff berth in 18 years. Well, Sean McDermott, 13-3, 6-0 in the AFC East, undefeated. The Bills had never done that before.
Yep.
First AFC title game in 25 years. First playoff win in 25 years. What the hell?
Yeah, and that's a big snub. That's a big snub. You know what, though? I think most people were like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone was like, yeah, McDermott did. I think everyone, even out of Buffalo, is like, McDermott got pretty snubbed on that one. So.
He did. He did. But
what's another one is the TJ Watt and Donald. Now, I don't think this is a snub, though.
Okay.
Because everyone just put the stats up next to each other, right? And Donald was a little bit less on everything, but the dude gets triple teamed. I mean, that is insane.
He is the best defensive player in the NFL.
It's it's hard. I wouldn't get too roped up into it, though. I know it's cool to get the award, but I'd be like, guys, they're both fantastic. And Donald's getting triple teamed. They're different positions. So that's another hard thing,
It sounds very cliche and very corny, but if I'm a player in the league and I'm pissing and moaning over an individual award, I gotta check my priorities.
It seems a little you don't get anything from it. I mean, it's cool to have. That's why McDermott got snubbed, but it's okay, whatever. Just keep winning.
At the end of the day, the Bills are much closer to that Lombardi trophy in the picture here than the Browns are. That's
way closer.
Yeah,
way
that's a fact. I'm not concerned with Cleveland in the slightest. Like when I look at the hierarchy of the AFC, I'm like, well, Kansas City's the team to beat. Am I worried about the Ravens? I'm not worried about the Ravens.
No, not at all.
Am I worried about the Browns? I'm not. It's just
the Chiefs.
But
I'm worried about what I'm worried about? I'm worried about the Chiefs. I'm worried about the Colts, depending on who they get. They'll be really good. They got a really good defense, and if they get a good quarterback that can step in and go, they'll be really dangerous as well. And I lost a lot, not respect, but I think the Titans are going to decline a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? They're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're Super Bowl ready, and I don't really know what they could do to become Super Bowl ready. I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't know what would push them over the edge. You have Henry already, and you can't do it. Tannehill, I don't think is Super Bowl quarterback.
That's my thing is the quarterback. It sounds really cliche and kind of obvious, but Ryan Tannehill's not the guy. I mean,
he's good, by the way. He is good. He's a playoff quarterback, but he's not a Super Bowl quarterback, and you're not going to get to the Super Bowl with him. So that's the problem.
And when I look at Baker Mayfield, man, mentally he doesn't really seem to have what Allen and Mahomes have. He played that game against the Chiefs so safe. They should have won that game. They had more reason to win that game against the Chiefs than we did. I hate to say it, but they were in striking distance and they just throwing footballs out to the flat on 3rd and 13. It's like,
Yeah, because he
come on,
can't make
buddy.
those
Like
throws. Yeah,
switch. He can't. He
yeah,
can't make the. He can't
yeah.
play
He can't
those guys.
make the
So I definitely agree with you. Yeah.
like. I don't think he could
What
take
was that?
over a game like he can't take over a game like Mahomes can take over a game. I think Allen can take over a game, right? Like he could start slugging it, running it. Mahomes can do that. Brady can take over a game. Rodgers can do it. He's not like that, you know.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. So
yeah.
you got the Chiefs. I got the Bucks. I am really hoping the Bucks win because
Well, when
I
I say I got the
don't see the
Chiefs, I
same team
think
win
they're
it
gonna
2 years.
win. Yeah, I want the Bucks to win. I think I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win now. If I was a betting man.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I can respect that take for sure.
yeah. I'm not putting money on
Awesome.
either of the teams that is out.
What was that? You're not putting money on it? No, I'm not either.
No, I couldn't. Again, I can't bet
Nope.
against Brady, and I don't want to bet against Mahomes because that offense is too good. So I'm not going to touch any of that.
I always part the show by asking people how are they doing with this whole COVID thing. How's things been for you?
Honestly, it hasn't really been that bad for me. It's not. I don't want to say I'm not worried about it or anything, but you know, everything's pretty much going as planned. I've been working from home still. Finally, they're opening up some restaurants again because they desperately needed the money. So, well, you know, at least indoor dining, lifting some curfews. So you know, I get out, I go to Beer Project, you know, I get some lunch and stuff. But you know what I really
In Lockport?
yeah, yeah, I was go to Beer Project.
Yeah.
I love the place.
You hit me up next time you're there. I'll meet you there.
Oh, dude, they got so many good beers too. But you
They
know what
do.
has been the
They
worst
do.
thing for me is these fans, dude, and like getting postponed. It's just the sports aspect. I'm so glad it's here, but it sucks when like right now hockey's. It's not going to shut down, but it's a little messed up right now. Like there's games postponed every night. I'm like, damn, I just want to
Yeah.
watch hockey. And you know what? I think this is the thing I miss the absolute most is going like not even the Bills games. I love the Bills, but Sabres games, dude. I love going to like Washington Square. You know, you have a couple beers, you get like, and I'm a more of a chicken finger guy, so I'd get like some fingers,
Right.
but and you go in, you watch the Sabres game, it costs you like $10. I love that, man. That is so much fun, and it sucks you can't do it. You know?
Yeah. The whole atmosphere of if you were to take this season and put it in the atmosphere of last year, it would have been bonkers. Like I feel
Yeah,
like we missed out. We did. I hate to say it. Like
we did, but
as
yeah, we
fans.
did. I just don't think we're done though. Like I don't see how we
Oh
don't
no.
repeat a really good year. So that's good for us. But yeah, I totally agree. It would have been a crazy year going to the AFC Champ game, having 2 home games too. Which I know we had fans, but it was pretty lame. It was.
Yeah, it
It
was.
wasn't really, but it was cool. I'm glad we had some people in there. But
Now you work in the medical field, right? You're doing
yeah,
stuff.
I work over at Catholic Health still.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So have you heard anything as far as like vaccines and stuff like that? Like I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm like,
So
yeah,
like yeah, personally, the first week they rolled them out, Catholic Health got them, and they offered them. I actually didn't take one though.
right,
For me, I said a little cliche too, but I was like, you know, give it to someone older. Number one, I mean, I'm 24.
right,
I don't have
right.
any underlying health conditions. I go, I definitely don't really need that. I go, I work from home anyways. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like, I'm not going out a lot, and if I do, it's you know with just close friends and family. So like, that's why I've never gotten it either.
Yeah,
You know, even
yeah.
if I did, I definitely be fine. But I don't know. I don't really want to get all into the vaccine, but it just seemed a little
Oh
too
no.
early for me to take it. No, you know what I mean? No, it's like
Yeah,
I just don't think I need it. Got pushed through
yeah.
pretty quickly, and
I,
it's good for older people though. I'm glad something's out there. It's rolling out.
right, and that's the thing. Like that, I like to look at it positively because there is a
Yeah,
lot of positive news trending towards that. So
yeah.
that's a good sign.
I think they've finally administered enough to the amount of COVID cases we've had. So that's kind of
Mhm.
cool, right? So with
Right.
the people that have already had it and now we're getting vaccines, like we should be to the point where this should start getting squashed. You know what I mean? Because there's
I
only so many more people that can get it now, right? Like
right.
I know not everyone had it, but it's just dwindling. It's got to dwindle down soon.
Yeah, they're saying that by the end of the year, 70% of the people, the population should have the vaccines. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, that should nip it in the butt.
Right,
Right?
right.
Like, yeah, you'd hope.
Better days are ahead.
Yeah.
Please, Lord, let
It's
the Bills win us. Let the Bills be in this moment next year. Let the
that would be
Bills,
awesome. Get fans back.
right?
Jack Eichel's going for the Hart Trophy.
I hope so, man. I think your expectations for the Sabres are a little bit loftier than mine.
No,
But
I don't think that. I want them to, one of the more hotter takes I have. I mean, I've watched the Bills since I was 10. Like every game. I love them. I love them to death. But I think Buffalo hockey is better, especially playoff hockey. It's like no other. You know what I mean? Like, remember the plaza and everything? That was nuts, dude. And I wasn't even old enough to really experience it, but like looking at it, that must have been crazy.
yeah,
Crazy.
I was in seventh and eighth, well, eighth and ninth grade when the Sabres had those two Eastern Conference runs,
Yeah.
and I remember it like it was yesterday. Like it's like in my mind. Like I actually, being that I'm from Lockport, the Palace Theater on Main Street.
Yeah.
They actually played the Sabres playoff games there
That's cool.
on the big screen. And
That's really
this
cool.
guy would bring like this tinfoil Stanley Cup and throw it around, and people would.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It like the memories of that are, I mean, it came and it went. Like that team, literally, as quick as it came together, it fell apart just as fast. Which
That's got to be one of the best teams to never win a Stanley Cup, I think, because we would have won that year. We were just broken, and we had to go down to Game 7. And I knew whoever won, Carolina or us, was beating the Oilers. The Oilers stunk.
Yeah,
They stunk.
Weren't they the eighth seed in the playoffs too?
I think they were. They were not good, and we were better than the Carolina. We were just so broken, and then we lost in that Game 7, and then it was like a 4-2 win. I think Carolina beat the Oilers, but I don't even think it was like close though. Like it just.
And Ryan Miller, for him to burst onto the scene like that year, and the years that he put in for the Sabres after that, I mean, he's one of the. I mean, I know Hasek is Hasek, but
won medals.
If you never had a Hasek in Sabres history, Ryan Miller's the guy.
I mean, he USA won medals. It was awesome.
Played in Buffalo longer than Hasek did. I'm pretty sure, right?
I think so too. From my understanding, Hasek wasn't even here crazy long, right?
Right. So, and then the Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics. 08?
Yeah, 08. Yeah. Man, he was something. He was amazing.
Dude, if you go look at that roster, it was just looking at it almost makes you sad that it's like, why can't we have that? It was just like Derek Roy, Drury, Briere. You had like guys like Ales Kodalik, Afinogenov, dude. It was such a Brian Campbell, Tim Connolly, dude. It was endless stars. It was such a fun team.
I went to a get together with this was probably about a year or two ago, pre-COVID, and I went to a get together with a few friends that I didn't know. One of them, his brother-in-law, is Jay McKee.
Oh, really?
Jay McKee was at the dinner reception or whatever you want to call it.
Sweet, yeah.
And I talked to him probably too much. I fanboyed. I really did. I have to admit, but
you gotta do it though.
He was a pretty awesome guy. Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah, man, I'm really pumped for this game. I think the Chiefs. I lean towards the Chiefs actually winning it, but I'm picking the Bucs. Screw it.
Yeah, no, some people got that feeling.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me on the show today, man, and we'll get you back on. How pumped are you for this fantasy baseball league?
Actually, I'm really pumped because I've done minimal. But actually, one more thing I want to get into. This year with COVID, though, I've actually really loved sports in the way, though, like we're getting so many games. Like this hockey season's awesome, dude. There is like 8 games on every night. The Canada division's awesome. There's not much going on, too, so I'm dialing into every sport. That's why, like, I started to really get into baseball last year. And now that I'm like not the COVID year, the one before that, it's like this is my 3rd year. I'm really into it. I'm going to be like, I listen at work, dude. I got the games on in the background. Like, I'm pumped. So, really excited.
Baseball has always been near and dear to me, but I definitely say that, football is king, but baseball during the summertime.
I've never even been to a game, too. That's another reason I really want fans. Like, it sounds so fun to go sit down and, grab a hot dog, a beer, and just sit out in the sun.
Dude, it is.
It
You've
sounds
never been
incredible.
to an MLB game?
No, I'm gonna do Pittsburgh probably first. I would do
Yeah,
Yankees. It's a little bit harder to get out there though and stay there. So I'm probably gonna do a
right,
Pirates game. They're pretty cheap, I think. It's a pretty close drive. Or I'll do Cleveland,
right.
one or the other.
Toronto is pretty decent too.
Yeah,
That's a
I've
pretty
I've seen the stadium. We never ended up actually going into the game, but
right.
yeah.
Yeah, man, that's oh my God. I've been to probably 8 or 9 ballparks, I think.
Oh
In
wow.
my
Yeah, see, that's another thing. They're really cool about baseball is all ballparks are so unique. You know what I mean? They all
They are.
they're all unique and they're like some have pools. Like it's so cool. I don't know. They're
Yeah,
really cool locations too.
it is an amazing spectator sport. Like to be
Yeah.
there, it's so much better. It really is. I get why people watch it, on TV and they're like, "Oh, it's just
The Reds game.
so moving," but they're interactive with the crowd. They really are.
Yeah, I was gonna go to a Cincinnati Reds game last year when I was driving to Nashville because we stopped there for the night. But they were like they were playing that day, but they were away, and I was like, damn,
Oh
because
man.
I would have stopped for the night. And yeah, I was like, I was totally gonna go, but yeah,
I
we'll see.
played baseball against a Cincinnati Red. How about that? It's a fun
Really?
trivia fact. Yeah, Jesse Winker.
Ah, oh wow,
Jesse
did you
Winker.
get
Yeah,
smoked?
he was in a tournament that I was in high school. He ended up
Oh, that's
playing
pretty
for the
sweet.
Reds. It was yeah, it's pretty neat. But
Nice.
yeah, I can't wait, man. Like when I can go to a baseball game again, that will be man. I might
There's
cry
gonna
actually.
Yeah, that's why I'm pumped. I want to go to. I think a Phillies game I want to go to too.
Their ballpark is really awesome.
Yeah, and I got
Yeah,
a buddy that lives up there, so I was like, that'd be sweet in the summer.
yeah, yeah.
Also, the other one thing I'm mad about is Nolan Arenado, and I don't even want to get into it, but I'm so mad he's off the Rockies. Cause I don't like have like a near and dear thing to the Rockies, but I liked him because of Nolan, and I was like,
Yeah.
I love him over there, and I was like, oh, the Cardinal, St. Louis, come
Yeah.
on.
The car when you see a player like that that's really good on a small market team get traded to like a big market, you feel like he's kind of a sellout. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah,
really it doesn't feel good, you know? Like when
yeah,
Trevor Bauer goes to the Dodgers.
yeah.
Like, come on.
Dude,
Really?
they were good. It's a good team.
They are going to destroy the entire league
Yeah,
like this.
I'm just excited to watch some Yankees baseball.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same about my Red Sox, but
Yeah, you might be switching over for the year, right?
I don't think so. I wouldn't go
Uh,
that far, but I
I'll
think
tell
the
you,
Red Sox are in a rebuild. To
they
quote,
are in a rebuild. Yeah,
yeah,
still fun to
but
watch, though.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, Josh, enjoy the game today. Stay safe. I'll look forward to getting you on. I'll probably get you on after the fantasy baseball draft. We'll kind of dive into
Yeah,
that a little bit for the folks at home.
sounds good to me.
This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook. Check it out. For the visual folks watching this, it's getting better with the fact that we could watch this, highlight reel as we're talking about the players. I
I like
thought that
that.
was pretty cool,
Yeah, I
and
like that.
posted a Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier commentary video. You should check that out, Josh. What I
Yeah.
noticed in that fight was pretty alarming, I
Well,
should say.
actually, we'll have to get on and talk about them because I got the gloves sitting right there.
Oh wow. Are they actually in like a case or are they
I
just
didn't. I'm going to get a case and put them in.
okay?
But I got them right now. He signed them. I got the two gloves. Both are signed. He signed them in gold too. Looks nice.
That's that's awesome. He actually that's really funny that you say that because in the UFC embedded, when they do the fighter arrivals at the venue, in this case Fight Island, they sign the posters. He always signs them in gold because he was a double champ.
Yep. He signed. That's
That's
other signed in gold.
that's
Yeah.
how he signed the gloves. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You'll have to show those on the show sometime. But
Yeah.
thanks for hopping on, man. I really appreciate it, and congrats
Yeah.
on winning those gloves. That's pretty awesome.
Oh my god! No, I can't wait to get him cased up.
So you do this Instagram. I want to give the story some context. Conor McGregor does an Instagram
Just
fan giveaway, right?
just straight giveaway. Yeah, literally just said it said comment on the post. That was it.
You just commented on it. You
Just
won.
comment. There was like 750 not people that enter, but there's like 750,000 people that follow it too. And Connor shared it. Yeah. And I just literally went onto the post. They were doing like a Christmas giveaway, right? Like they did 12 days of Christmas. So the first couple of days I was doing it and I'm like, I'm never going to win this, right? The last one I see the gloves, I'm like, all right, I'll comment. Like it's a comment. Like, I'm never going to win, but like, why not? The next day I wake up around noon, and a little notification. It's like, click it. I'm like, no way. And I like swipe. I'm like, no one's messing with you, right? I click on the person that tagged me because they tagged me right into their story and say, congratulations on winning. I checked, it's verified. And then they're like, DM us. I DM'd them. And then like 3 minutes later, like, congratulations on winning. We just need your address. And then your jacket size. Cause they said, here, I'll show you really quick. They sent me the green bomber jacket. This thing's nice.
I need to see this.
Yeah. This thing is, it's a nice green, got his logo on the back. Yeah, dude. This thing it's comfy, dude. It's a comfy jacket. And I didn't even know I won the jacket. I thought I was just getting gloves. So I'm like, now I got a nice jacket to wear. I wear it around. It's super comfy. And then the gloves are awesome. I'll bring those out next time.
That's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
He'll be back. I'm confident. I know
he can't quit.
No, he'll be back.
Honestly, let's just save the talk. Let's do a UFC show about him because there's a lot to talk about.
You want to dive into it now?
I do got to get going soon, but you know what I will say though, I'm just a little nervous about him missing a step. I think it was because he hasn't fought in a while,
right?
It's hard to come back in.
I'm telling you, dude. You watch that commentary reaction video that I put out. It's just the video of the fight with my commentary and what I noticed.
Is this after or during the fight? Like
This was after. After the fight. So it's kind of like I'm narrating the fight. Kind of what I noticed
down a little bit.
Yeah, what I noticed while I was watching it and what I noticed watching it, the second time around, in this video. And I think I really brought a lot of really cool points in both cases with Poirier and McGregor that people can take and be like, wow, that really did happen.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting to do that, and it was fun. I'm going to do it after every UFC main event, pay-per-view main event. The Usman Burns fight's coming up. That's going to be a good one. They got 3 title fights in March 6th, heavyweight title March 27th. So
I think the 27th one is that the one with Stipe.
Stipe,
and the firefighter, baby.
Yeah, I love Stipe. So I'm pretty excited.
How you pronounce it? Stipe.
Stipe, yep.
Stipe, yeah. I like it's Miocic, right?
Stipe Miocic, yeah. It's Miocic, but I say Miocic. So
okay, but yeah. I love watching him. I always tune into those cards. I love.
Dude, he's the best heavyweight ever.
He's still firefighting too. He still does. That's something.
Amazing guy. So
that's something.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, take care, Josh, and enjoy the game today. Stay safe, and look forward to having you on the show again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it soon.
Take care, buddy.
All right, see you.
See you. That was Josh Wrest joining me on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Take care, and let's enjoy this Super Bowl.